No, that would be inappropriate. However, this would not be inappropriate. The difference between a white cake and a yellow cake is what?
You don't use the egg yolks?
You don't use the egg yolk. So, I mean, even if you've got a white cake mix, and because they didn't have any yellow cake mixes, it's
just all the way around the cake. Very easy. So just steady stream of frosting coming out of the bag.
Hi, welcome to Cooking for All Seasons. My name is Judy Keys. And today we have a spectacular show, a show that I could never put on by myself because I'm not the baker in the family. But I have a friend, and her name is Renee Davi, and she's here today with me. She is from the family that owns Rosine's. Rosine is her mother. Rosine's is a restaurant in Monterey, and it's one of my favorite restaurants. And they make those wonderful, huge cakes. And Renee, I'm so glad to have you here today.
Happy
Thank
to be
you for
here.
coming.
My pleasure.
And she's going to show you guys how to make those really neat tall cakes, you know, with all the icing and all the fancy candy and everything. But what we've done today is we've baked the cakes already, and the recipe for the cakes will be on the website. And basically, it's a cake mix with eggs, water,
and a cup of mayonnaise.
And that's the key. That's the key right there. So I'll have the recipe out there on the website for you. We didn't take the time today to actually do the baking, but so they're all pre-baked. And Renee, tell me. Well, let me talk to you about our sponsors today. Today we have La Crusade. And actually, Renee actually works at La Crusade, and that's where we met. And I found out that her family owns Rosine's, and I said, "Oh my God, you have to come and do the show. Please come and do a show for me and show my audience how to make these cakes, because it's probably the kind of one show that I really haven't done because I'm not really the best baker in town. I mean, I don't know. It's just a lot of times people who do a lot of cooking don't necessarily do a lot of baking, correct?
Right, correct.
And Renee is just multi-talented, so she does cooking and she does baking. And so we have La Crusade with us today, and they're a wonderful company, and they're very nice, and they've supplied a lot of really good things for us. And the other thing is that the other day, my husband and I were in Hollister, and we were looking for some things, and we came upon a candy company called Marich. And I went in there, and they have like this little candy shop, and we were going to do the show. We had the show planned. And I know that when you do these cakes, you use candies. You use these fancy candies. And I walked in and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, candy cake. So I talked to the lady in there, and I got in touch with the owner. His name is Brad Van Dam, and I asked him if he would like to be a part of this show today, and he was very happy to. So he sent us all this wonderful. Well, first we went on a candy tour, which was just absolutely that was incredible. You enjoyed yourself?
Oh, very much. Lots to learn and see.
Yeah, it's just you don't realize how much goes into the making of candy. So you can see right here. Here's a sample of the candies that he makes, and over here there's these wonderful boxes of candies. I'd like you to, if you get a chance, he has a website. It's Marich, and on my website, www.cookingforallseasons.com, there will be a link to his website, and you can take a ride out there and go actually to their candy shop, and you can actually purchase the candies there. And I believe you can also do it online. But he has wonderful candy, and they're really nice people, and that would be nice. They make candies for all year round, and some of his specialties are he makes these chocolate covered cherries, and all the chocolate covered fruits and everything, and they're really terrific. So I'd like to thank him for sending us all these really nice candies, and hope that you guys get a chance to go out there and support him, because it's a beautiful factory, and they do have tours. You have to call and make an appointment, but I know that you'd enjoy it as we enjoyed it, right?
Very much, very much.
So thank you, Mr. Brad Van Dam, for taking us and for sending us these beautiful candies. So I'm not doing anything today because I'm not the cake maker. So Renee, you're the cake maker. So take us through some of the, what are we going to make today?
Okay, first of all, we are going to make a cake that we feature at Rosine's restaurant. It is a Rocky Road cake. And basically, it's 3 layers of chocolate cake layers. And in between the layers are whipped cream and chopped up candy bars and some really chocolatey syrup, Hershey syrup, in between the layers that makes it nice and gooey and yummy and really decadent. You can use any candy bar. You could use Hershey's with almonds. You could do Almond Joys, and all of these cakes are done at Rosine's. You could actually do a Kit Kat cake. You could do a Reese's peanut butter cake, and you could do a Butterfinger as well. Today we're going to do the Rocky Road. So basically, it's pretty much the same recipe. It's 3 chocolate layers or 3 white layers, your chocolate sauce, your candy bars, and whipped cream. Sometimes if it's a peanut butter cake, like a Reese's peanut butter cake, they'll melt some peanut butter in the microwave and they'll put that in between the layers. So it's really simple, but it looks really complex because it has a lot of these yummy ingredients. But basically, it's the same procedure for all the cakes. So today, we're going to start with this nice cake stand, and this is from Le Creuset. It makes the pedestal real stable so it doesn't move all around while you're putting your cake together. And I like to freeze my layers because it just makes them real easy to handle. This one's not so frozen. It's been out of the freezer for a little while. But I find the cream goes on easier. It's just easier to handle.
Well, yeah, they probably don't crumble as much.
Well, no, they don't. And they're nice and they're sturdy. So I like to do this, put the top side up, and I find if I lower my oven temperature by 5 degrees, you don't get the mound on top.
Oh.
Judy, it makes it more of a flat layer, so it's easier to work with. Yep.
I mean, there's like a really good tip.
Right, so you can see how flat that is.
Yeah,
That's
because
nice.
usually, and it gets sometimes, see, I noticed that when it's frozen, I know I shouldn't be touching, but it's okay. My hands are clean.
My hands are clean too.
When it's frozen, you don't get that, I don't know if you got, I mean, I do bake, but sometimes you don't get that sticky part. You know, cakes that are baked, they get kind of sticky on top, and then you like poke it, and then half the top comes off, and it's real annoying.
Right.
You know.
Right. So this is a nice flat layer, and I have 4, 6. So I'm going to put 1.5 in between each layer. So what you do is you just chop your candy bar, just like this, and it's just the marshmallows with the chocolate. And I even have some chopped walnuts that we could put in the middle.
You brought them?
I brought some chopped. I roasted them this morning and chopped those. So I think, let's see, I'm going to start perhaps, maybe I'll just put a little of this. So it really doesn't matter what order you do it in, but you should probably be consistent throughout the entire cake.
Okay, so now what are we putting on now?
Okay, so this is whipped cream that I whipped this morning.
But see, look at how stable that is. And now why is it so stable? Stable meaning that, you know, like a lot of times when you whip cream in the little containers, you can never get it to like stay. It just kind of, because it's been pasteurized so much. And the reason why this stays is because...
This is stable because I added 3 small packages of instant vanilla pudding.
So you could actually add...
So you could add chocolate, butterscotch, vanilla, pistachio, banana, coconut. As long as it's instant. It can't be the cook and serve because it won't solidify the cream. It has to be instant. So this one happens to be the vanilla. Now it's really good too if you put chocolate on this particular cake. I believe Rosine's might even use the chocolate whipped cream.
I'm quality control. I'm just
testing. How is it? Is it okay, Judy?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know?
Let me finish. Taste it again.
Yeah, you just might have to, huh?
Yeah. Very good. I mean, it still tastes like whipped cream. You know,
But
it
it's
still
yummy.
has that consistency of whipped cream,
Right.
but
But it's very flavorful.
now look at see.
And then you could just do this lightly, not too much. But put that like that. And then you could add a handful of walnuts and you just sprinkle it lightly with nuts, just
see
like
now.
this.
I mean, look at this.
So that's
I mean,
in
you
between the
guys-
layer. So that's one decadent layer, and it's very easy to do.
Oh, here.
I could use my apron. Towels.
Let's get. There you go.
Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to add the next
Look at-
layer.
Cool.
But I'm looking at this, and I might even just add a little bit more cream. Just not too much.
This is diet cream, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Non-caloric.
Okay, just
Absolutely.
checking. Just checking.
Yeah. This way the next
I mean,
layer
this
has...
is. I mean, the reason why is all the holidays. I mean, you can go. I mean, look at this. I mean, you guys can make these cakes at home.
Very easily.
I know. Okay, so
So
now
this
what-
one's upside down. I'm going to put this one upside down because the top surface will be nice and flat, and it'll give you a nice tower flat cake. But on the top, however, we're going to mound it round because the Rocky Road traditionally has a mound on top with Rocky Road, and then the marshmallow cream and the chocolate just goops off the side. But I turn this layer upside down to give me a nice flat surface. Once again, I'm just going to add some chocolate syrup, very easy, and then another.
So I mean, you know, I mean, for some reason, if you know, you could use walnuts, you could use.
Oh, you could use
pecans,
coconuts,
you could use-
pecans, depending on what candy
You
bar
could use
you
any
choose.
kind. You could use anything.
Exactly. Okay, I'm going to turn that.
Can you imagine bringing one of these out to your family? I mean, I mean, your kids would go nuts. Your husband would go nuts. Your mother-in-law would go nuts.
Yeah, they are yummy.
I mean,
Okay.
sorry, mother-in-laws, but you know
Okay.
what I mean.
And I believe I put the cream. I can't remember what I did. Did I put the cream?
Yeah.
I put the
Yeah.
cream next, correct?
And then, because
And
then
then I
that
put
corner
the-
sticks, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, I just want to tell people, see what this is? This kind of, what is that?
Well, this is a spatula, cake spatula. This one is from the Pampered Chef.
Yeah.
But there's a name for it. And we were trying to think of the name the other day, and we couldn't remember
Okay,
the name.
this is like the third time I can't
Remember, we couldn't
what
remember
it's
the
called.
name. It was just a bi-level, or it was just a crooked. Remember, it's just a regular cake spatula with a little crink in it, so it makes it nice to spread.
Okay, I called my mother again today to ask her what it was called.
And it was a very simple name. It's just like a spatula.
Okay, does anybody
cake
know
spatula?
what that is? I can't remember.
I didn't realize they had a
Okay,
special
I'll remember
name.
as the time goes on. It will resurface into my brain again.
Okay, then I'm just going to put some nuts. Okay, just like that. And then this here, just like that. And then I'm going
I
to
mean,
add
this
a
is like
little
a
more
party.
cream.
You have a party here.
Not too much, because then it goops out the side, and you don't really want it to goop out too much like it's doing right here. So I'm going to have to squish that back in when I'm frosting it.
Well-
and don't be afraid, though. If your cake looks like it's falling apart, you could always fix it. So if you see stuff gooping out, don't be alarmed. You could just push it back in and put more cream to cover it. So that happens sometimes when you're making cakes.
Well,
It's an art.
I think that's the kind of thing that you don't want. I mean, it doesn't.
Well, you want it to look pretty.
You want it to look pretty, but the idea is that you don't want. I mean, I don't know.
What do you mean?
I like it to look kind of.
Well, you put a lot of nuts. You can always camouflage cakes. You could put nuts, and you could put
Look at you
coconut,
guys.
and you
Look
could
at
put
how tall
almonds.
that is.
That's a pretty tall cake right there. That's a tall one. Yeah. This is how they are at Rosine's. This is how they serve them. It's 3 layers traditionally, just like this.
Okay, we went to Rosine's and I brought a slice of cake home. 4 of us could not finish the piece of cake I brought home. It was
Really?
huge.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, well, I'm not supposed to eat it. I'm diabetic, so.
Oh, Judy. What kind did they bring you? What kind did they give you?
Rocky Road.
Oh.
I love Rocky Road. I love nuts and marshmallow and chocolate. I mean, I think that, to me, that's like,
It's yummy.
I
Very
think that's
yummy.
really good.
Yeah.
I mean, you could change this. You could make this chocolate cream. I mean, you could make it anything. I mean, you know, whatever your family likes.
You know, that's actually the top layer of the cake, so I am not going to add another layer of goop. Not goop, but I'm not going to add more candy to it. I'm just going to put frosting, the whipped cream on the top. Now, this is the tricky part, because this cake is kind of oozing all over, so I have to get it so it looks nice and straight. So this is,
But see, because these are frozen still, they're, I mean, they're still, I mean, they're beginning to defrost.
Right.
But you have some control over them because they're not quite so. You know how-
soft. So they're still pretty firm.
So you see how she's doing that? Can you guys get
But see,
that?
I'm going to cover all this. I'm
See,
squishing
look,
this right back
she's
into the
squishing
cake.
it right back in.
Yeah.
And it's going to look, you know.
And then I'm going to cover it with more cream. So it's going to be fine once it has the final layer of whipped cream on the outside. And then we're going to cover it with walnuts. So it's going to be really pretty and really yummy.
And then you put this in the refrigerator.
It stays in the refrigerator until
Because
you're ready
this
to
is
eat
what,
it.
I mean, technically, even though you have the pudding in there to stabilize the whipped cream, you it still has to be refrigerated. I mean, you can't just leave this out because if you do, it's eventually going to, like, you know, slide out. So you can't. This cake has to be
Refrigerated.
refrigerated.
Right.
And even if it's refrigerated, the layers will defrost. You know, they don't take very long.
No. They're almost defrosted already,
Yeah.
actually, which is okay. And then you just spin your plate around like this. And it's helpful if it's on a pedestal because it's more your level so you can see what you're doing.
Yeah, actually, I got this one. I got this one at Home Goods.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, which is part of TJ Maxx. It was like $13. I mean, you don't have to get something like this, but it really does make it easier. I mean, you can go to like Wilton's or and they have the fancy ones where it spins around and stuff like that. But you know, really, as long as you have something that you can put it up a little bit higher to your level.
Right.
I mean, actually, if you had to, you put it up on top of books or something, just so that you can get it up. You know.
It does make it easier as you're spinning it around.
Look at that.
So you just spin it and you add a nice layer of whipped cream. This is actually a whole half gallon of manufacturer's cream. And I picked it up at, I believe it was Costco.
Well, yeah, it's heavy whipping cream.
It's the producers.
Yeah.
And it's a nice whipping cream. It coagulates faster than the regular one you buy at the regular grocery store.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that it's just a bargain, really.
It was.
I mean,
it was so inexpensive. It was like $4.97 for half a gallon.
Yeah.
It was great.
I think that that's really.
Yeah.
I think, and it whips real well too. You know.
So you just frost the rest of it just like this.
Looks good, huh?
Is it leaning? let's see. I can see if it's leaning. It's leaning. Not too bad though. This is how they look at rosines. It's defrosted almost. Yeah, and if you wanted to do a chocolate whipped cream, all you would have to do is just add the 3 packages of instant chocolate, instant pudding, and then it would be chocolate whipped cream. And that's kind of nice too. And
This is nice because you get kind of the. Well, I know there's a lot of people out there that are just like so over the top with chocolate. But sometimes
it's a nice change.
It's kind of nice to have a little bit of everything because see, you still get the swirly kind of thing of the chocolate in there. I mean, look at it. I mean,
well, it's all covered anyway with the walnuts. So.
Yeah. So look at. I mean, you guys, that didn't take very long to do.
No.
I mean, So let's think about this. The basic thing is you get a basic cake mix, and you use a cup of water, 3 eggs, and a cup of mayonnaise, and you bake it the same way you bake it according to what it says on the package. That there's no difference, right? Except for you bake it.
For these 3 layers, I just lowered my oven temperature by 5 degrees, and it made the really nice flat layers.
Okay, so that's the only difference.
Right.
Okay. And what the mayonnaise does is it creates a more stable consistency in the cake. Because the other day, my mom made cupcakes like that, and the people just went nuts. They said, "Oh, these are so moist." Well, the thing is that the moisture from the mayonnaise just really, changed the consistency of the cupcakes. Well, mayonnaise basically is eggs and oil, but because it's emulsified, it really does change.
I'm trying to decide. I could do one of two things. I could make it flat on the top, or I could not make it flat and just mound it with the chocolate. I think that's what I'm going to do.
Oh. Gee, I wonder who's going to eat all this. The crew's going, me. But we're going to make 2 of these. This is only the first one, right?
Then we're going to make another one.
We're going to make a chocolate one.
Yeah.
For all you chocolate fiends out there. And this one's going to be, now this is the whipped cream one.
This one's the whipped cream. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some walnuts.
You know, then again, you pick any kind of nut you want. The only thing I would say is make sure you toast
the nuts.
The nuts. That would probably be the only thing I would say is because raw nuts just are not particularly good to.
What you do is you start at the bottom of the cake and just have a handful of nuts in your hand and just work your way up the sides of the cake and just press them lightly into the frosting. And then you could recycle them. You could put them back in the bowl. Then you just grab a handful and you just ease your hand all the way up the sides of the cake, just like that. So you're covering the entire outside surface with walnuts. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's looking good. So how many cakes do you think you guys that you guys make in a week over there?
Oh, at Rosine's? Oh my gosh. You were there. You saw how many cake layers were coming out of the oven.
In fact, you're going to see in as the show goes on here, we were over at Rosine's and I took Larry and we had breakfast there, and we took some shots of the cakes and stuff like that, and of your mom and dad. And you'll see as we're talking about the restaurant, there'll be interspersed pictures of what the restaurant looks like and of the cakes they have there. And you'll notice that the cakes are real. They look like this, you know.
And at Rosine's, they have the whipped cream side of the case, and then they have the buttercream. So they actually have 2 options. The whipped cream cakes are the higher, big, towering cakes with 3 layers, and the buttercream traditionally have 2 layers. However, the German chocolate has 6 layers, so that's kind of nice. If a person likes German chocolate, they make a great German chocolate cake.
Because it has coconut in it, and I love
yummy.
Coconut.
It's really yummy. Yeah. So that's basically how you put any type of nuts or jimmy or anything you want on the sides of the cake onto the surface of the side.
Push it over just a little bit.
The cake? Yeah, look, I'm making a mess, Judy.
That's all right. Don't worry about that.
I made a mess on your floor.
That's what vacuums are for.
Okay.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
It's leaning. So like, okay, so say it's like leaning a little bit.
It is leaning.
So then what would you do?
So it's leaning.
So you just kind of push it?
You could, but it is kind of delicate. You could push it a little bit, but you have to have something in your hand, like the walnuts.
Well,
so the cream doesn't stick to your hands.
See how she's doing that?
So I'm just pushing it over to the right a little bit, just like that. Just like that.
I mean, you know, it's not...
There.
And then once you get it into the refrigerator, it stabilizes itself.
Yeah, just like that.
Look at, I mean, that was wonderful.
Okay. So you can do a lot with cakes, just like that. Okay.
You know, if your family doesn't like nuts or something, you can use jimmies. You know, those are those little tiny candy thingies.
Wash my hands. Okay.
Look at this.
How does it look? Does
It looks really
look okay?
nice.
Okay.
So now what are we going to do?
I'm going to chop
Oh,
this, and I'm just going to throw these on the top.
Okay.
right in the center. And then we're just going to drizzle the sides of the cake, actually the top of the cake, with chocolate syrup and then marshmallow cream.
Oh.
And then that'll be it. And then that's it. And then that's your traditional Rocky Road cake that we serve at Rosine's. So this just goes right in the center like this. Just like that. And then they just goop this like this. And then they just let it ooze down the sides. Just like that.
I can't tell you. I
This
can
is what
tell
they
you
do.
what the crew is going. They're
Just
going,
like
they're
that.
making all these. I know. I mean, I know you guys know this is TV, and I know you realize that there are people behind the camera, and they're all kind of going, oh, you know.
And they just goop it on.
They're kind of going, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. I think that's beautiful. That's just beautiful. Does that need to be melted a little more?
It should be melted just
Okay.
a little bit. And this is marshmallow cream. It's just your
I'm just going to put
basic,
this in the microwave for a second. I'll be right back.
just your basic jet puffed. And it's marshmallow cream. And we put it in the microwave to get it a nice, soft, pourable consistency. And then we just pour it on the sides of the cake. And this one, if you use the Reese's, you could use peanut butter. Just put the peanut butter in the microwave like we're doing with the marshmallow cream, and you just drizzle that with a spoon
You know, I don't-
on the sides of the cake. And the Kit Kat is just the cream and the chocolate, cream and
I
chocolate.
don't know if I have, I don't know if that's too tall.
What's that, the cake?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The Almond Joy, if you were to do an Almond Joy cake, you would do the same thing. You would put the Almond Joy on top, and the sides would not be walnuts, it would be coconut. So you just get a handful of coconut, and then you'd lift the coconut all onto the sides of the cake.
Oh, you
Just
can
like that.
toast the coconut too.
Or you can toast the coconut too. You could toast it. I believe Rosine's just uses regular shredded coconut. Yeah.
So here we go.
Okay.
Well, I think
That's probably good enough too.
just mix it.
Yeah. with
Just
the
mix
spoon.
it with
the spoon.
the spoon.
Oh. Well, this
The one
is
thing that when you're melting chocolate in a microwave, you have to be very, very careful because it, sugar is attracts microwaves really, really easily.
and this they just drizzle just like this right on the top of the Rocky Road, and they just let it ooze in between the chocolate and the candy bars, just like that. And then they just put little dollops on the side, and they just let it run down the side of the cake, just like this. And these don't last very long. Once they make a cake at Rosine's, the whole cake is gone within an hour. So
I mean, this is definitely a cake that you could make for your family at home.
very
And,
easy, very easily.
You know, and really, honestly, price-wise, it really is pretty reasonable. I mean, honestly, I think that, and this feeds, how many people do you think that
Oh
feeds?
my gosh. Well, it's so high that you don't cut them very big. So I would say you can cut this maybe 12 to 15. 12 to
yeah.
15, easily.
I might have to have one of my helpers put this in the refrigerator in the garage.
Oh my goodness, it's too tall.
I don't know if I can, I don't know if my,
Okay. Well, that's basically it. So that is the,
Ooh, look.
yeah. This is it. This is the Rocky Road cake.
Well, what do you think, you guys? No, that would be inappropriate. However, this would not be inappropriate. I was just keeping it from going onto the floor. So, okay. So which one are we going to do next?
We are going to use the candies from the Marich Chocolate Factory, and we are going to do a holiday cake. We'll do different sections featuring different holidays, and we're going to do white cake layers with a chocolate buttercream.
Okay, we'll be right back. We're going to get it all set up. We're going to clean this up a little bit, and then we're going to put this outside in the refrigerator outside, and we'll be right back. Okay, the last cake we did was the whipped cream
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road,
Marsh-
everything in marshmallow,
Chocolate syrup,
walnuts, and it was like this high. Okay, This one we're going to do, and that was a 8-inch size?
That was an 8-inch cake pan. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, you could make it any really size you want it.
Right. These are 9 inches.
Okay,
So this is a
okay.
bigger cake
Okay,
layer.
and this is a vanilla or
Just-
a yellow cake or whatever. The difference between a white cake and a yellow cake is what?
You don't use the egg yolks?
You don't use the egg yolk. So, I mean, even if you've got a white cake mix, and because they didn't have any yellow cake mixes, it doesn't make any difference to throw the whole egg in. It's not a big deal.
Right.
It just makes it a yellow cake mix. It's not really, you know. Right. And I'll tell you something. You know what I do sometimes? I have found if I put a little bit of vanilla, extra vanilla into the cake mix, it takes away the flavor of a cake mix. But I think putting the mayonnaise in there, people don't realize it's a cake mix.
Right. It tastes very homemade.
You know, and even bakeries, and I know this, even bakeries use cake mix. They buy it by the tons, right? They do. Because basically a cake mix is flour and I don't know, whatever.
Baking powder,
powder, salt, sugar. I mean, I have tried to make a cake mix, a cake by scratch. Okay, that was a mistake. And I've actually seen bakers on TV who say, you know, I mean, at some point in time, unless you're making a particular type of cake, you know, like a chinois or, you know, a chiffon or even angel food cakes. I know they use the cake mix and stuff like that. But, you know, don't think because you're using a cake mix that you're not, quote unquote, a baker.
Right.
Because bakeries use them too.
Right. That's
so
correct.
let's dispel that myth that you think that because you're using a cake mix that you're not really making a cake and that you have to go spend a fortune. I mean, you know, yeah, going to Rosine's and getting one of their cool cakes is well worth it, but it is in Monterey and sometimes it is difficult to get down there. So that's why we're bringing this to show you that yes, you can do this. And you could do this at home. But while you're down there, get a piece of cake and have their Eggs Benedict, which is almost die for me. Anyway, so, you know, the thing is that don't be thinking that because you had to make it from scratch, it's not a cake, you know. And so here we have Marriage's cake candies. And we're going to make, okay, so go ahead and do your thing and show us what we're going to do.
Okay. First of all, we're using a yellow cake mix, and it's a 9-inch. So I actually used a whole cake mix in this one layer. So I have 2 layers, so it's actually 2 boxes of cake mix. And I'm going to go ahead and split the layers, and I have a nice knife that can easily split the layers. And a lot of people are real apprehensive to do this because they feel like it's really difficult. It's really not difficult to do at all. The secret is, I think, to have a nice, sharp, long knife. And even if it's not perfectly cut all the way around, you can cover a lot with frosting. So don't panic if it doesn't split exactly perfectly. So you just spin it all the way around, like so.
I've seen where they use string to cut them.
They do. I've done that too, but I find this is easier actually.
Oh yeah, because actually this is frozen.
It is frozen. Okay, so that's all the way through. So I'm just going to lift this off. Just set it over here. Okay.
Look how pretty that is.
Yeah, so that's just a basic cake. And we are going to do, let's see, I guess we're going to start with the chocolate whipped cream in the center, in this layer. So this is whipped cream. Judy, what is in here?
Just the whip I made just like you told me to do.
Okay, so it's whipped cream with
chocolate pudding.
So this is a nice,
I didn't put a lot of chocolate pudding in.
One package?
No, I didn't even use a package. I just sort of sprinkled it.
Oh, okay.
You could taste it.
I did earlier. It's yummy.
Yeah, I didn't make it real strong because I didn't, you know, I just kind of made it. It's kind of a mocha kind of flavor because with the chocolate frosting, I thought maybe, you know, something that wasn't quite so...
So rich.
So, yeah, the flavor, you know, And that's about a cup and a half.
Perfect
That's
amount.
about a cup and a half of whipped cream. And I use the same whipped cream from Costco, the Producer's whipped cream. And I measured about a cup and a half, and all I did was I put it in the mixer, and then I just, as it was mixing, I just
sprinkled it.
I just sprinkled in the pudding, and when it got to the point where the whipped cream was at, you have to be careful because you're gonna end up with chocolate butter.
Right.
Which is okay if you're gonna have like bagels or something, but if you're gonna do a cake, you don't really want chocolate butter.
No.
So.
Okay, and I'm going to flip the layer, and I'm going to put it this way. I know that looks odd, but it's a flat surface once again, and then you fill the sides with the cream or the frosting. So it's okay to do it that way. And this next layer, I am going to put the regular whipped cream that has the vanilla instant pudding in that. So we're going to spread a layer of this. So this is a pretty basic cake, real easy to do. These layers were frozen too, like Judy said.
I mean, if you really had to, and you could turn this cake into one of those candy cakes too by putting, candy in there. But this time we're going to do the candy on the top.
Right. We're going to use this wonderful
We're
marriage.
Use all these different kind of marriage candies, and so it's going to be a little bit different. But if you would like coconut or anything like that that you wanted to put in between here, you could do anything. You could do chocolate shavings, or anything like that.
What some bakeries do too to put the alcohol on the layer, they get a little spray bottle and they'll put maybe half a cup of water and 2 tablespoons of rum, and they'll spray the layer, and then you get that nice that hint of alcohol in your cake.
Yeah, I used to use like orange. I really like orange and chocolate together. So I would use like Grand Marnier and just sort of
and just sprinkle it. Just sprinkle it on there.
Just you don't want too much because otherwise you're going to soak your
layer.
Your layer. But just putting a little bit on there really does taste really good, and especially around the holidays and stuff. But now I'm learning how to do this.
Yeah, and I have this one layer here, and I'm just spinning it around on your beautiful counter.
That's okay.
And I am going all the way through the layer. This is a wonderful knife.
Get this?
Yeah.
How's that?
Okay. So this I'm going to spin upside down, and I'm going to put it this way once again, so you have a nice flat working surface, and you can see the cake is aligned pretty well. That's important. This layer I'm going to use the chocolate buttercream. So we have the chocolate cream, we have the vanilla cream, and we have the buttercream. So we actually have 3 different fillings in this cake. So it's going to be divine.
And this chocolate buttercream is butter, confectioner's sugar. It's made with Dutch processed chocolate or any kind of chocolate that you want, and a little pinch of salt, and all the recipes for all the fillings I'll put out on the internet, all on the website, so that you can do all this. And so
it's a great consistency. It's really spreadable. It just goes right across the layer. Very nice. It's very important that the frosting is the right consistency.
Yeah, you don't.
So then you're not fighting the cake. It just glides across the cake.
Yeah.
So.
But I use real real butter. Look, if you're eating the cake, you got whipped cream. I mean, I use real butter. But I know a lot of they use. See how she ended with the bottom
on the top.
On the top. So
nice
now look at how nice and it's not sticky. It's still really it's cold, so it's somewhat frozen still.
And the same idea applies here. You just spin the cake as you frost the sides. I like to frost the top half first, and then I go and I do the bottom once I have the top frosted. That's just something that I've always done. I don't know why. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just I feel like I have my top, and then I go around and I sweep around the bottom half of the cake. And you just spin your cake stand all the way around as you're doing this. Nice
Well, it looks
frosting.
really neat because you have the mocha, the white, and then sort of somewhat of the darker chocolate, and it looks really nice. And it'll look really nice when it's sliced.
Beautiful frosting. Good consistency, Judy. And this just spins all the way around. So it's really easy. It's not real complex making cakes. A lot of people think it's really hard and they can't bake, but it's...
Well, the one thing I noticed, if you guys notice, that the cake itself is not breaking apart. And I know, for me, that's one of the things that happens, is you go to do this and then you move the cake, and the next thing you know that half of it's broken off or the sides are broken off. And I think that that's the difference in using this recipe of putting the mayonnaise in there is that it keeps it much more solid. And the other thing is that when it's frozen, it seems to, it's really much easier to work.
It is.
So maybe the trick is that I know that sometimes it's not always convenient to know that you have to make a cake the day before. But if you get the chance to know that if you're going to make a cake is to try to bake it the day before and put it in the freezer so that you can...
Up to a week in advance. A lot of times...
Oh, yeah, really?
Oh, absolutely. I would bake them weeks in advance and wrap them really good in saran wrap and foil and keep them in the freezer and then just frost them last minute.
So, okay, so the holiday's coming.
Yeah.
Bake yourself, a couple of layers because really you can split... this is 9-inch, but you could have split, like on that last one that we made with the whipped cream. You could take 2 of those 8-inch ones and split them.
Of course.
So, you make a couple of those, just keep them in the freezer. You have company all of a sudden coming over, real easy.
Absolutely.
It's not a real difficult thing to do. So you can make them
in advance.
And then just keep them in the freezer.
Okay.
So that's a really good idea.
Okay. So now the top, you just grab a couple big spoonfuls of frosting for the top, and you just put those right on top like so. You want to make sure you have a nice amount for the top, like that. You could always take some off if there's too much.
So I asked you, I said, well, making buttered frosting is, sometimes I know that, I know we've all got cakes that are really pretty and then all of a sudden you bite into them and it's like, the frosting is like really,
lardy. It doesn't taste good.
There's just nothing like butter in a
not.
frosting. However, I know that putting a couple of tablespoons sometimes of Crisco or something into your... it's not going to change the flavor that much.
No, it's not. If it's a couple tablespoons, it's fine.
It will make it a little bit easier to spread, right?
That's right.
But, so if you had to, if you want to do that, you can do that.
And what helps too, sometimes if you want this to be really flat, you could run this under hot water and dry it off so it's really hot. And then when you do this, it just makes a nice clean surface with a hot spatula. I do that a lot too. Now this, you just kind of bring your spatula all the way around. You take off the excess, just like this. And if there's a spot not covered, you just add some more frosting there. And you just go all the way around, like so.
Right there.
And now I see. Yeah. And sometimes I spend a lot of time just spinning it around and around and around to make it perfect and to make it perfectly flat on the top. Depends on what I'm going to do on the top. That determines how flat I want it, or if I want it like swirls, you could swirl the top, or you can make it perfectly flat. I don't think I have enough buttercream to do the border around the sides. Jude.
Oh.
with the pastry bag. So that was a lot of buttercream we put on this cake. That was a lot of buttercream.
Yeah, that was about, well, actually, you know, really honestly, when you think about it, that's a big cake, and that cake would feed how many people? That cake.
This a lot. 18, 12, 15.
And that's only 2 sticks of butter.
Oh.
So really, that's not bad.
No.
You know, I mean, when you think, everybody thinks, oh, cake, you know, and it's just so fat. I mean, yeah, it is fattening, and it does have a lot of sugar in it. But I mean, as far as, so if, you know, use butter. Don't use margarine. It won't taste right.
No, you can't use margarine. Definitely, you can't use margarine. It won't taste.
It
won't be
have
good.
A really peculiar flavor.
It'll be horrible. No, you can't use margarine. Absolutely.
You know, so use the butter. I mean, 2 sticks of butter. I know it sounds a lot, but when you figure out the amount of butter per person per slice, it's really not that. It's really not that much.
So how many pounds of sugar, Judy? So 2 cubes of butter.
It's about a third a cup of butter to a pound of powdered sugar.
Okay.
And so that's about what it is. So that was about 3. So that's about 3.
So you tripled it.
That's about 3 pounds of powdered sugar. But
that's a lot. This is a big cake. Okay. So what you could do is, at this point, if you wanted to, you would wash this off, get it nice and hot, and then you would just smooth the top really smooth, just like this. Okay. But I'm not going to heat the spatula to do that. But that's how you get the nice finished surface on the top. It's not really flat, but how you can camouflage that too is with the pastry bag. Pastry bags work wonders. Let's see.
Well, we're going to go ahead.
Should I go ahead and try to put a border, or?
No, let's just go ahead and decorate it.
Are you sure? Okay. I could try to. Well, I'd like to do the pastry bag. Let me just see if I have enough here. I would like to try to do it. I could try.
We have enough to do
some border. I think so. Now, pastry bags. This is a coupling with a tip, and a lot of people are afraid to use these. Don't be afraid to use these. The secret is to bend it all the way down like this, and then you grab it like this. So this is the secret to the pastry bag, and you want to try to get the air out by putting all the frosting right in here. Mm-hmm. So, and then you just scoop it in, and I always make such a mess when I bake. I'll try not to make too much of a mess, but you just squish it in there like so. And this is
just on the
I could do on the outside. I think we have enough to go around the side. And if you're not real comfortable with your tip, what you could do is practice on wax paper first, so you get the feel of the bag and how you want your border to actually look. There's different types of borders that you could actually make with this tip. I've never used this tip, but we'll see. And this is also how you would fill your bag for writing, like happy birthday or anything you wanted to write on the top of your cake. So then you just push this up, just kind of drop it down, and you just kind of put some in the back into your bowl to make sure there's no air, and that looks good. And then what you do is you would just go like this. You just go all the way, just all the way around the cake. Very easy. So just steady stream of frosting coming out of the bag. Oh, thank you, Judy. Yeah.
I could be the official turner since I can't do anything else.
Oh, I don't know about that. I find that hard to believe. Such a phenomenal cook. Okay. Keep going.
See, I told you mine fast.
No.
To do this.
Oops.
Do we get
so then you twist. If you're running out, you just twist to bring it back to the surface. And then if you make a mistake, it's easy to fix, really. You just, and we just have just enough. Barely enough. But it's okay. It's fine. You know what? We'll put a piece of candy there.
Piece of candy there.
Never know. Never know.
Cool.
Okay.
Does that look cool?
Yeah. And then when you're done, you just clean the edges really nice with a wet paper towel, and it's fine. So we have all this wonderful candy. So this is the fun part. So what do you want to do first?
Okay, so you do I'll do Halloween.
Okay, we do Halloween.
Okay, so we're going to do a Halloween side. We're going to do a holiday side.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's holiday.
So, and then here's, well, we'll just put them on.
Okay, so
Yeah.
pretend this is four separate cakes. This will be the holiday. So another secret too is if you have something you want to prop up on your cake, like a snowman or a flower or something, you get the pastry bag and you put a dollop of frosting on your cake, and then you could put something leaning right against the frosting. So then it's almost 3D. That's how bakeries get things to stand up on their cakes. So that's kind of fun. You could be real creative that way.
Actually, there's, yeah,
So for holiday, you could do like a red, white, and green border, like this all the way around your cake. That's kind of fun.
And look at these are bats. What?
Oh, there's bats. How cute.
So I'm making a border of bats.
Okay.
Look at how cute this is.
And these are chocolate-covered cranberries, cherries. What are these, Judy? What are these?
I think those are mints.
Mints. Okay.
So look at this
And then
border.
here there's a nutcracker. So you could do like a nutcracker cake. Little
There's a bat
decorations.
border.
So you have the bats. And here's a Christmas tree. And there's Santa. So you could do that. Then there's these fun gummy ones with the little dots on them. Those are cute. Oh, that's cute, Judy.
So
you could decorate one cake that way.
So, take a trip over to Marish.
Mm-hmm.
It's
fun.
And see what he's got. Okay, now.
Spring.
So we got that.
How about spring?
Spring. Oh, here's spring. These are mints.
These are Holland mints. These are wonderful. These are so good for baby showers. These are really
yeah.
great.
Well, that's a great idea for a baby shower.
The pastels.
Oh, yeah.
So this you could just make a little border with these.
Let's see, what are these?
These are yummy.
These are
What are those?
These are triple chocolate toffees. So look, I mean, really.
Oh, yummy. That looks really nice against the chocolate buttercream. Doesn't that? That's really cute, Judy.
Hey, look, you guys. So this isn't so there we go. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I know I've enjoyed this. We'll be right back. Okay, offset spatula. That's what this is, okay? And really, it really does invest in one. There's a couple different sizes. There's this one. Do you have a little one?
There's a little one here that's got frosting on it.
This one.
Let me wipe.
Really does help. Okay, they're called offset spatulas. You can get them pretty much anywhere in any kind of kitchen store. It really helps. And it really helps in getting things out of the pan. Oh. So if you hear something in the background, that's my cat. Sorry. She's complaining because she wants cake and we haven't cut it yet. Okay, Renee. And Renee has something.
I have this fabulous little tool called a cake tester, and it's just a little stainless steel pin, and it has a flat end. So you simply insert this into the center of your cake while it's baking to ensure that it's done. And it's very, very accurate. So if it's 25 minutes, pull it out at 25 minutes and test it with this little gadget. It's amazing. Very, very accurate, and your cake is usually very moist when you use this because you pull it out at the right time and you don't overbake it. So I would strongly recommend these. And these can be found at Le Creuset at the outlets in Gilroy. It's wonderful. I use it all the time. Toothpicks don't work. If you put a toothpick in there, it just doesn't work.
Well, it sticks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not supposed to, and they say if it comes out clean, but, I've had it come out clean and it's been overdone.
Exactly. That's my point.
So
that's wonderful.
So, I don't usually, say get some things, but, there are some things that might help. So this would be something, an offset spatula would help. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to cut the cake.
Okay. Which one first?
Oh, well, I don't care. Here, let's cut this. Look.
This big one?
Yep.
Okay. Ooh, okay. So you just cut it directly in half. That's how you cut one of these big cakes. Just go right. It's pretty dense. So you just directly right in the center of the cake. Rosine's gives you pretty big slices.
Oh, can I have a big enough plate?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This is actually,
I mean, the dinner-sized plate.
yeah. And then you just scoop it out like this. Oh, this isn't going to work. Let's see. Okay, ready? Why don't?
Oh, wait.
I think I'm okay, actually. Grab that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, so there's one slice of the Rocky Road cake. And that looks divine. So there's the one. It's got some nice marshmallow and candy bar right there. Okay, so the same principles apply for this cake whenever you're cutting a cake. So it's directly right in half. You don't want to slice it crooked because then all the other pieces will be offset. So let's just cut it
How's that?
directly in half.
Can you see it?
And then we'll make this one not so big. We'll cut right between Santa and this little jelly belly. And then we'll just, this one looks nice
I mean,
too.
your family is going to go nuts. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
a
your
nice
family's
slice
just
of
going to
cake.
go, I mean, they're just probably going to enjoy this, I think. You know, it's an easy, you know, let's take a look at that one.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Huh?
Good enough to eat. Yummy.
Oh, thank you, Renee.
My pleasure, Judy. Anytime.
Okay. Well, thank you, guys. We're going to eat cake. Let them eat cake. I know that there's a few people waiting in the background that would like to eat cake, and they're all nodding yes. So come and see us again and enjoy your cake. Have a good holidays.
I'm sorry, I cut in when you said goodbye. I'm sorry.
You did?
Yeah, when I said goodbye, I shouldn't have
Oh,
said
no.
goodbye. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Oh, that looks so cute. Look at it. That's perfect.
Okay. Cute. Oh, I'm using them all. Okay. How does this look, you guys?
Oh, yeah, maybe we should have shown the other one, too. Oh, we didn't even cut it.
Oh, don't cut it. You're going to cut it.
I'm sorry, you guys. Too many drugs. Either too many
You do
or not
good.
enough. I can't quite figure out what it is. Oh, sorry. I'm not a professional. So, if you hear something in the background, that's my cat. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
So I would strongly recommend these. And these can be found at Le Creuset at the outlets in Gilroy. It's wonderful. I use it all the time. That was fun. How did it go, Judy? You think it went okay? Is that what
Oh,
you...
yeah. Don't you think so?
Yeah. I feel like I cut you off at the end, though. I said goodbye. I'm sorry.
You did?
Did I cut her off when I said goodbye?
Oh.
Really? Well, sorry.
Okay. Did you want cake?